Namaskara. I'm going to talk a little bit on Bangalore's current water shortage and then how political parties are kind of fighting on that. And let me share my screen so that you can see what I'm going to talk. And I want to give facts and logic and references so that whatever I talk has some substance, right? So let me share my screen. I'll put it into slideshow. Wait it. Share. Share. Mm, Okay. So, okay. There's so much of talks going on rhetorics, and since we are going to vote in another week or so, less than a week in Bangalore for the general election or Lok Sabha election, and our Prime Minister made a serious comment on Bangalore's condition, and just wanted to talk about it. This is about quick introduction about me. I'm not going to read on this right now, so may I create a separate video at some point of time. And also, I just want to put my intentions and disclaimers. Again, I'll go through this a little later. So I think you all know that it's election time, election and politics time. The blame games are on. So as we all, if not all of us, at least some of us know that if there is any success, everybody wants to claim for themselves, right? Claim it for themselves, right? There is a saying that success has many fathers and failure is an orphan, right? So Modi ji is great in claiming almost anything and everything in the country, which the positive things, right? And almost as if everything has happened after 2014 and only because of him and his party. So that is the way he kind of projects it. And anything goes wrong, it is extremely good in putting all the blames to people who came earlier or on the other side of the political spectrum. So you can see that, I mean, the Modi ji said that, so in fact, I called Bangalore situation as, from tech to tanker city, right? So, definitely there is a serious water crisis in the city. But there are various reasons for that, various causes for that. And we know that, so it's one of the worst drought conditions we have for the last 1 year. And so the problem is that, and we are facing, most, I mean, if not most, half of the city is facing serious issues, and it needs to be solved. And definitely, the current, the Congress government needs to take some amount of blame. But the bigger question is, what is Modi's and BJP's contributions for improving Bangalore development and solving our problems, right? Just want to set the context a little bit. I think we all want ideal place, ideal situation, and everything perfect, right? And so, but just want to remind everybody that in any of the big cities, great cities in the world, none of them, in fact, not only cities, any great structures, our system, our organization, they were not built overnight, right? So they were built over decades, sometimes over centuries. Yet they all, none of them were perfect. All of them had or have challenges, right? Bangalore is no exception, right? Okay, just what are we going to talk about it? Um, I think you can read through it. Essentially, Bangalore is suffering serious water challenges, and of course, we have a lot of traffic issues as well. And so we are suffering for last 2 3 decades because of really dead planning, and extraordinary growth in the same period. So, all regimes, especially who have come in the last 20 years, cutting across the party lines, and administrators need to take major blames for this. Prior to that, I have a lot of respect, appreciation, and then also some amount of blame on them. But there are a lot of good things had happened, and some good things have happened in the last 20 years. Also, it's not that nothing has happened, but it's quite inadequate for the kind of growth what has happened in the last 20 years. So again, BJP has been in power in center for last 10 years, and BJP was in power in state for 10 years in the last 20 years also, right? So in that period, whatever there have been contributions to Bangalore in specific, right? And also, were there not any development before 2014 or even before 2000, right? Just to remind everybody that just a year and a half back, we had really, really serious flood issue that happened during, when BJP was in power in both state as well as in center. It's what Modi ji and others want to call this as a double engine sarkar, right? So it happened. And do we blame Modi and BJP just for everything? I mean, only them for that situation? Or was it because of the extraordinary rains that we had 1.5 years back, and then of course the poor planning and poor implementation of our infrastructure, right? So that again that goes back to various regimes and parties, right? Okay, so let's try to understand the city's big picture, right? So right now, as of 2023, Bangalore metro area, right? That is, the core BBMP area, which is 740 square kilometers. And then all the peripheries, between, Nelamangala, Doddaballapur, Devnalli, Anekal, Vaskote, and, probably Bidadi, till Bidadi, right? And Magadi. So between these towns, which were really separate towns earlier, that is the metro area now, so which is roughly about 8,000 square kilometers, significantly bigger than Paris, right? So this is the area, and we have 1.4 crore people, right? That is 14 million people, and this population is bigger than any of the Scandinavian countries. So just think about that, right? So the GDP of this area is about $300 billion in PPP terms, purchasing power parity terms, and probably about $100 billion in currency exchange rates. So the population, you can see that it was 4 lakhs in 40s, and in 2011 it was 84 lakhs, and we have not had the census for last 13 years. First time in the history of census, so census has not been done by central government, sadly, and it's estimated that we have 1.44 people as of 2023, right? So the city is quite cosmopolitan, so predominantly it's Hindu city, but there are people of various faiths and religions, right? And also we have the very high language diversity, right? So probably Kannada speaking people are only 40% in the city, right? There are significant non-Kannada speaking population in the country. They've all enriched the city, as well as they've also got benefited from the city. So Bangalore did not happen, in the last 10 years, 20 years, or 50 years, right? It has been happening for at least 500 years. And it was a small village before Kempegowda came in. Kempegowda was the ruler of Magadi province, and he was feudatory of Vijayanagara Empire. And they kind of, after the collapse of Vijayanagara, in fact, during Vijayanagara, he was, kind of, what is it, under the Vijayanagara Empire. And so he saw Hampi, the city of Hampi, and he wanted to kind of build his own city, and that's how Bangalore started. And we had the old planned part of Bangalore, the Paite area of Bangalore was planned and developed by Kempegowda, but the Bangalore village was existing many centuries before that. right? And it evolved into major commercial urban center during Kempegoda himself. And then, for subsequently, the Kempegoda clan rule was defeated by, Adil Shahis under Shahaji, Shivaji's father. And, they were ruling Bangalore for some time. And then Mughals captured it and sold it to Wadayars. And then, so again, all of these people have contributed for the development of Bangalore. And then Hyderabad and Tipu have contributed immensely as well. So if you can, go to Lal Bagh, that was founded, developed by Hyderabad, right? So then British came in, they added cantonment area, right? And then, and the Wadayars also contributed during that period. And then, post independence, we have seen a lot of growth, development, and improvements, right? And also chaos. Bangalore is one of the most recognized cities in the world, though there is a lot to improve to be in the league of best cities like Singapore, Boston, etc. If there is a bit of will, commitment, and actions, we can make it happen. It won't happen in 5-10 years, probably a couple of decades. It can happen, right? So why we need to do it? Because we have very short memory and narrow views. We don't want to look historical things. We don't want to look at the big facts, right? And we don't want, we are ignorant of them, and we are unsympathetic. Just can you think of dealing with the need of 1 crore people who have come to this city in the last 25 years? So that is more than the population of entire Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, any of these countries, right? Sweden probably it's about 10, 12 million people max. Yes, let's admit the fact that we have failed miserably in planning in the last 25 years. Some hodgepodge of planning and developments have happened. But still city, kind of, somehow running. It is not great, but it's still somehow it's running, right? So again, let's go try to understand the history, some facts, so that we appreciate what we have and what is missing, and we also understand what is missing, and so that we can work towards addressing those missing pieces. Right? It's Bangalore has been one of the major science and technology center over a century in the entire country. So Hyderabad comes probably close to it. After independence, it became the nerve center of many public sector companies: space, defense, aviation, electrical and electronic engineering, telecom and computer engineering, etc. Right? The public sector engineering companies, their ecosystems, along with the STEM academic institutions, created right environment for what we call now IT revolution or IT based economy, startup economy, and the global innovation and engineering. And also we have great global innovation and engineering centers and services in the city, right? Whole ecosystem evolved from this, public sector institutions, organizations that were set up in after 40s, 1940s and 50s. Bangalore is the IT capital, or Silicon Valley of India. We account for third of India's IT exports, which is roughly about $60+ billion. Right. It is also the startup and private innovation engineering hub of India. So India now has about 100 plus, if not this number can vary, 100 plus unicorns, essentially companies, startups, whose valuations have gone beyond $1 billion. Right. So there are 100 of them in the country, and Bangalore has the highest number in India, to be 25 plus. Well, with all those things, Bangalore is a mess for the last 25 years, right? So, transportation, major traffic congestions are there, and road networks are really poor. There are a lot of road encroachments, and the growth, or so-called growth and developments, are very chaotic and unplanned. The metropolitan area planning and implementation is lacking significantly. Water shortages are there in new areas, the peripheries that have come up. Anything outside of the outer ring road, There are a lot of shortages in various things. There are, really have a lot of issues with sewage and garbage. Sewage is ending up at lakes, and garbage, we're not able to manage it. We have many parts of the city are flood prone, and lakes are being encroached, and also sewage is entering, right? So density of population has become, uh, uh, you know, it's very high, and there are no civic communities in many of the new areas. And so, unfortunately, pollution has increased, in the air, water, sound, etc. Of course, with the increase in the population and with increase in the economic activity, the crime rates have also increased, but still probably we're much better than many other cities in the country, right? So Bangalore with spectacular growth, so it's a kind of half full and half empty city. Perhaps most major cities, whether it's not only Bangalore, it's Chennai, Hyderabad, maybe Hyderabad being a little better. Delhi, the NCR, Delhi, and then Mumbai. They're all in very similar situation. In Kolkata for a long time, right? Again, major causes are, so I think there's significant degradation of political leadership, public participation, and the administration as well. So again, coming back to the current uh, water shortage, let's look at what is uh, Modi and BJP's contributions are, and also what are the contributions of earlier regimes, right? So yes, it's glass half empty. Let's look at what is half full, right? So we had really serious flood, kind of nearly, if not half, one third of the city was flooded, and it was, in 2020, 22. And so, our area, the new periphery of the cities, and it was really badly flooded, right? Um, what did they do? And why did that happen during double engine sarkar? So let's look at the half full part of the Bangalore, right? So we can keep complaining, and but let's look at, how things have come up in over the last many decades, and probably over a few centuries as well. So if you look at, Bangalore's growth, that economic growth, and primarily economic growth, that happened because of the various big public sectors were set up here. So BEL, BHEL, BML, so, and NAL, HAL was not set up during it was set up even before independence, but it was significantly enhanced after independence, right? HMT, Hindustan Machine Tools, people have forgotten, it's almost closed organization, but it is one of the iconic companies in the country. ITI, Indian Telephone Industries, again another forgotten company. They played a significant role till 90s. And CDOT, Center for Development of Telematics, Center for Advanced Computing, Development of Advanced Computing. And LRD, these are all defense and space research organizations. ISRO, I don't have to talk about it. There are various DRDOs that are based in Bangalore, right? Defense research and development organizations, right? They were all established in, from between anywhere from 1940s to 1990s. In that period, you can go and look at the work in the center and during the state. Mostly it was Congress regimes, right? So they have contributed immensely, right? And whatever the IT revolution, they have stemmed out of these organizations. And what has been the contribution of BJP in adding and enhancing this list, right? Let's look at the other, side of the Bangalore, right? So let's look at the residential areas of the Bangalore. So some of the, the best residential areas, Jayanagar, JP Nagar, Banshankari, Indira Nagar, BTM, HRBR, Basvesh Nagar, Rajay Nagar, Vijay Nagar, HSR, RMB, RT Nagar, OMBR, all these, well planned, if not best planned, better planned areas of Bangalore. In fact, we can call the kind of still proud of Bangalore because of these planned areas. Otherwise, it was just pile of concrete. If we come to the periphery, the electronic city suburbs outside of core electronic city and Bomanaldi, we hardly feel even Sajapura Road. Hardly feel that is a great city. There's hardly anything to be proud in this area, though there are some great buildings and an oasis of some you know, decent apartments and complexes, but very chaotic development. If you go to these well-planned areas, you really feel proud of them, and they're much more livable, right? So it brings a sense of pride when we visit these places, right? Most of these areas have come up after 1940s, right? You can go and Google, check these things, so there are various Wikipedia set up on this, when these things have been set up, it's already established, started, and how they have kind of evolved, right? So the last, area of planned development happened in some of these things, Bangalore 360, Vishweshwara layout, Anjanapura, Kempegoda layout, etc. And I think probably the Kempegoda layout is the last planned area in Bangalore so far. There is a Shivaram Karanta layout which is said to be kind of released, but we yet to see what comes out of it. So, in terms of the educational institutions, right? Let's look at some of them. These are the institutions of eminence or institution of repute. University of Agricultural Science, GKVK, Gandhi Krushi Vijnana Kendra. It came up in 1960s. Nimans, and then IISc was there even before independence. The Tata Institute, but it was significantly enhanced after independence, right? And then IIM, Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research. It was set up in 1989, but it has grown significantly, and it has created its kind of impact in terms of research. National Center for all these institutions. These are all great institutions that were set up anywhere from 1940s to 1990s, right? And they have become kind of they've grown into very reputed, credible institutions. So I want to ask, people who talk about big things about BJP and Modi. Modi is completing almost 10 years of rule in the center, and Vajpayee was there as prime minister for 6.5 years. I want to know one or few institutions set up by these, either by Modi or by Vajpayee regime, who have grown into, great institutions like any of these things, right? I'm not really sure, but I really doubt. Okay, apologies for that. Um, okay. So let's look at some infrastructure development, right? So the outer ring road, it's really the backbone of new Bangalore. So anything that has come in and around outer ring road. In fact, most of the IT development, IT corridor is around this outer ring road, right? So really, there is some estimation. It's kind of supporting economic activities of about $22 billion. That's a significant, right? When was this done? It was done as per the Wikipedia, it's most likely between 96 and 2002. So during Janta Dal and Congress regime here, right? And a lot of it is actually between Silk Board and Nepal. It was completed during a Krishna period. And the other side, from Silk Board to Banshankari to other side, so some of it was there as part of a BDA layout development, but a lot of it was developed during SM Krishna and also some bits were kind of completed quite late as well. But the point is here that this majority of it was done during S.M. Krishna's Congress regime, right? Just I'm trying to bring up these things so that you understand developments have been happening long time, and most of the development happened during non-BJP periods. And we have four elevated roads in the city, right? So from 66 circle to the corporation, right? So that was done during the SM Krishna's period. It was done very economical, just 100 kilometers, 100 crores, 100 crores or so. And we have three major elevated roads, one in Tumkur Road, another in Ballari Road, New Airport Road, and in Electronic City. So all three were done during UPA 1 and 2, right? So these four elevated roads, they were done during Congress regime and UPA 1 and UPA 2. And of course, now Modi Gadkariji's government has built this Bangalore-Mysore Expressway recently. They have an elevated road as well, but that has come late in the game, right? And also its impact is not. I mean, it has impact, but it's compared to these four other things. It's not significant yet, right? And also they have other highways coming up, they're building, so they will also come. But the thing is that a lot of infrastructure was already built even Modi came to power. So then let's look at the metro, right? It was in planning for a long time, and it was started. It construction started sometime in 2006, right? And it has been operational for some time now, since 2011, right? It took a long time to build, but it's serving 5-6 lakh people, and so it is now operational for 70 odd kilometers, right? And it will, it is a significant part of the metro is under development, right? So all parties have contributed for the last 20 years or so, but this is not happening just after 2014 or because of Modi. And BMTC, it's one I want to highlight this when not many people talk or consider how important BMTC is and what is the kind of scale and impact of the BMTC is. So they have nearly about 7,000 people, and they serve about 50 lakh people every single day, right? And is one of the best urban transportation organizations in the country, if not the best. But Mumbai probably has one of the best, so best as well, right? So most of it was, kind of, it has come up during, Congress regime, and some part of it came up during Janata Dal as well, during Ramakrishna Hegde and Devagowda and J. Patel times as well. If you see that BMTC central bus stand in Majestic, that's one of the best in the country. They came up during 1980s during Congress Gundu regime. And Bangalore was known as garden city. Unfortunately, we have lost that. At least in the periphery, there's hardly any of it, and there's so much of concretization that happened. But there's so much of emphasis and efforts and and resources given to that in 1980s and 90s. And I don't know how to kind of do that in the kind of fix that problem in the periphery, but we have to appreciate whatever is there in the central part of the city that has been happening for some time, but it was kind of significantly emphasized during 1980s and 90s. And then water supply, right? And of course, we're facing serious issues, and we have, but at the same time, we have to remember that we need to meet the needs of 1.4 crore people, right? If you consider that entire 8,000 square kilometer, BWCSP is probably supplying to 1/4 of it, but in terms of the geographic area, or even less than that. But in terms of the population, probably they're serving or providing water for 50-60% of the people. So hopefully they increase their implementation of the current projects and conclude them. and address the issues. But let's acknowledge that they're lacking, they're slow, and at the same time, let's appreciate whatever they have done already done. Again, all these water supply projects, bringing water from Kaveri to Bangalore, that has happened, in the probably in the 70s and 80s and 90s, probably 80s and 90s, right? So again, you have to give credit, a lot of credit to Congress and Janata Dal regimes that were there back then. Let's look at the connectivity to other nearby cities. I mean, other cities, right? Bangalore Mysore Highway, it was two-lane since British era, and it was four-lane in 2003-5 time frame. It was done by Karnataka the Road Development Corporation in just 250 crores. It happened during SM Krishna, started during SM Krishna period, completed during Karam Singh period. And just to kind of give a comparison that the current 6+4 lane service lane expressway, we have spent 8,000 crores, right? So of course there are bits, some pockets have elevated roads, the cost of constructions have gone up, cost of land acquisitions have gone up as well, but 250 crores versus 8,000 crores is significant, right? And and Bangalore Hassan, Nelmangla Hassan, is in another major highway. Many parts of it is 6 lane, and not 6 lane, 4 lane plus service road. And it happened during UPA too. And Bangalore also Chennai, which is part of Golden Quadrilateral, which is just 4 lane, and it got increased to 6+ lane during UPA too. So a lot of flyovers were built for smooth travel, right? So and then Delhi, the north-south corridor from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, NH7, old NH7, it was envisioned during Vajpayee period, but because of lack of resources, it was not done, and was largely implemented during UPA 1 and 2. And the Bangalore, Madurai, I mean, this entire Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, this now it is 4 to 6 lanes. Some pockets are 6 lanes, some pockets are 4 lanes, some pockets are 10 lanes. If you go from Hebbal to Devanahalli, it's a 10-lane highway. So there were also other roads initiated. One of them is Kote, Devanahalli, Dodballapura, Dabaspete. It was initiated during UPA 2, probably UPA 1 as well, but it struggled, and it's near completion now. There's been a lot of push in the last 2 3 years. We should give credit and also express our gratitude to the current regime for that. So looking at the what kind of drives Bangalore's economy, it is IT industry, right? So let's look at how this all started. It did not happen after so-called economic liberalization of P.V. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh in 1991, or after 2014 when Modi became Prime Minister. It started in 1960s, right? So you can see this. There was a Baba Committee report and action in a plan that was implemented in 1960s. But TCS came up in 1967, right? So the ecosystem, the environment, and the laws, the infrastructure, they were all kind of evolving since then, right? The STPA was established in 1991. They were providing a lot of basic infrastructure and services for the IT companies, right? The electronics in city in Bangalore, it was established in 1978 during Devaraj's period, and this was set up specifically for manufacturing. The providing infrastructure, good quality infrastructure for electronic companies for both domestic consumption as well as for export, right? So it happened. It has been happening or developing since then. So there are people who complain that government IT industry grew despite government, or government didn't know what to do with it. That's why IT industry grew. That's all nonsense. Government knew about it, a lot of it. They provided a lot of support in terms of infrastructure, policies, and tax exemptions. infra, those kind of things, right? There's a lot of, well-planned layouts were developed by industrial development boards or, corporations, and they were given at cheap rates, right? So go to Electronic City, we'll see that how good, reasonable, if not great infrastructure that is, right? Outside of Electronic City is all chaos, unfortunately, but inside Electronic City is fairly good. Right? Infosys was started in 1980s. So IT revolution, again, it started in 1960s, right? So the International Tech Park, ITPB or ITPL, it was done, kind of established in early 90s, started in early 90s, mid 90s. It came to operation towards the end of 1990s. And there were other major players in enabling our IT revolution, right? So this Center for Development of Advanced Computing, they developed a lot of capabilities. We were even developing quantum computers, supercomputers, right, and so on and so forth, right? So what I'm trying to say, these things have been happening over decades. We kind of ignore these developments and contributions of in the progression of our city in terms of economics, or the other socio-economical aspects of the city. Let's look at some of the other, say, interesting things. You see this, how do we identify Bangalore? What is the icon of Bangalore? It's Vidhan Song. It was built during 1950s, after independence, right? So one of the most beautiful public building that has come up after independence, right? So who was, which party was in power? It was, Kengal Annathe was the chief minister. Congress was the party, was the one who was in power that time, right? There's no other equivalent building that has come up in the country. Just for comparison, tell me what is on the right side here. Is there any comparison in terms of beauty, or aesthetics? Which one looks really Indian or in a Hindu? What we, many people want to call, identify the whole thing, in all the things now, right? So they want to identify all good things with Indian and Hindu identity, right? If not Indian, Hindu identity or Bharatiya, right? So what is Hindu or Indian thing here? I don't see any Indian thing here. You can see that Indian Indo-Saracenic or Neo-Dravidian architecture here in a great granite architecture, structure here. Right? So the various things have happened, and we forget, that those things have happened over decades. And there are videos, couple of videos which were shot, drone videos shot during the COVID period. Please watch them. They're 4 or 5 minutes. You will see that, some of the great things of Bangalore. And so all these things, whether it's Ebal flyover, of course, also lake has been there for a long time, but it was kind of developed and redeveloped so many times. And airport connectivity has been done. And watch these videos. These are the actually videos of the Bangalore during the COVID, when there was limited traffic, there were fewer people on the road. So in the end, what I want to say that Bangalore, sorry, the head title is not right. It's not irrelevant. Bangalore is half full, half empty. It's a great city on one side, and it's a lot of chaos there, a lot of gaps in the city, and a lot of development has been happening over period by various regimes and political parties, and political leaders, as well as social and economic, the business entrepreneurs and civic activists and so on and so forth, right? And there were some great administrators as well. So they've all contributed, right? So we have to really appreciate about, and also think of the scale and size of the problems as well. And let's participate in improving things. And we have to be active, and we have to demand things as well from the political parties as well, right? And I just want to give some credit to Modi as well. I don't want to end with no giving no credit to Modi and Gadkari as well. So they completed Bangalore Mysore Expressway. And I would say it's not. I don't think it's world class, but it's I would say 8 out of 10. It has come out reasonably well. They're also executing new Bangalore Chennai Expressway and satellite town ring road as well. They will help Bangalore definitely, and we should be proud of them as well. But they're coming at extremely high cost. That's something we have to be considerate about it, and the tolls will be very high, unfortunately. And there are various rates, not just Modi and Gadkari as well. So it's the cost of land acquisitions have gone up because of the change in the land acquisition laws, right? That happened during UPA too. So I don't want to blame entirely Modi and Gadkari for the Gadkari ji for that, but at the same time, the costs have really shot up. So um, let's hope that so things will improve. Not only hope, we all need to participate, contribute, and demand for better Bangalore, and we need to work together. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಗಲಿ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು